All right, so call meeting order. It is 6:13 p.m. now. Start off with a roll call. Alderman Donahue's here. Alderman Bilotto.
Here.
Alderman Klinker.
Here.
Alderman Alexander.
Here.
And Alderman Johnson, are you here? Dexter's absent. Okay. Next, we move on to citizen concerns. I received no emails for public comments or text messages or phone calls for anyone wanting to do public comment today, so we will keep moving along. 1 second, sorry, my notes here. New business. First, we have an agreement with propertyroom.com. This, there is an item from, or a memo from the police chief regarding this. I believe this went to public health and safety. Is that correct, Alderman Klinker?
Yeah, yeah, it came to us, and we passed it on to finance.
All right, so it looks like another committee's approved it. Are there any questions regarding this? No, all right. Since there's no questions, is there a motion to approve the agreement with propertyroom.com?
I'll make
a motion. I'll second it.
All right, motion by Fred, Alderman Bilotto, second by Alderman Klinker. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion's carried. Item B is the Illinois Mutual Aid Water Agreement. I know we have the Superintendent of Public Works and the Water Director, Mr. Postel, on the line. Jim, if you wanted to explain what this is, please.
It's going to be a mutual agreement, which would be like a backup. Just what I sat through a webinar a few weeks ago, and I thought it was a good idea to join this thing because they were talking about it. So I brought it up with Carrie. So I think what would it be? It would be is if you know, being during this COVID-19 era, but not just for now, but anytime. If we're unable to have men to work the water, we'd be able to reach out for some mutual aid from other towns that are local to us, or not even, you know, so if it's an earthquake or tornado or something that happens that our guys aren't able to handle it, we could call out to other municipalities for help. So there's no cost joining, but on the other hand, also too, they could ask for our help if they need it.
All right. Thank you.
Members of the committee, this is Kerry. It works in a manner very similar to mutual aid that the fire departments have in place. They're a little bit more structured in that they have districts that they're part of, but the requesting community, you can be a requesting community or a responding community. If you're a requesting community, the responding community can request reimbursement for its costs in certain instances, or equipment that it has to supply or provide. And the responding community is then required to work out an arrangement to reimburse the requesting community is then required to work out a reimbursement to pay the responding community its costs. But as I said, it's very similar what the fire departments do to help one another. The membership is free. Apparently they have a number of informational webinars for participants. And when I went over the agreement with Jim, he thought it was a good idea, and it appears to be something that could be beneficial. And it deals strictly with wastewater and water systems.
All right. Thank you, Jim and Carrie. Are there any questions from members of the committee? Seeing none or hearing none, is there a motion to approve the mutual aid water agreement with Illinois?
Bilotto,
I'll make the
motion. Jim, you're
Klinker
gonna be
second.
next.
Alderman Bilotto with the motion, Alderman Klinker second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Moving right along, we have a resolution for video tech proposal security cameras at City Hall and East Annex. With permission from the committee, I would like to table this item until we kind of have a better idea of where we're at with revenues and the kind of the overall cost or impact COVID-19 is going to have on the city. I really don't want to be spending, not saying that we don't need the security system, but I don't want to make frivolous purchases right now when we could possibly have to use whatever capital we have to pay employees or pay for further in this pandemic. So I would like to table, just looking for hopefully some agreement from the committee on this. So is there a motion to table this item?
Alderman Donahue, what is this
Sure,
quote
sure.
for? Is it for new video tech replacing the old video system we have? I mean, what exactly is this quote for?
Sure. So it's what the quote I have here in the packet. It proposes replacing the existing end-of-life PDS hybrid server with a new server. Includes server replacements, programming with the owner, labeling all existing cameras in the exact server, and sets up owner-provided PC and training users.
Right, I see that, but why? Why? I mean, is there something wrong with the existing system that we have? I mean, why did we get a new quote?
I think it sounds, just from according to the quote, it sounds that it's the end of the life of the server we currently have. But I think I'm hopeful that we could probably put this off, hopefully for just a couple more months until we just have a better idea of what's actually happening revenue-wise, or the impact with what's actually be coming into the city coffers.
I'll second your tabling motion.
All right, so I made a motion to table. Alderman Bilotto, second. Is there any other questions? No? All right. All in favor of tabling signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All right. Thank you. Moving along, Metra parking lots liability insurance policy update. Carrie, did you want to speak on this? I know this is an item you asked to be added because I know our coverage lapsed, I believe, this week. So go ahead, Carrie.
Yes, the existing policy expires tomorrow at midnight. We got the quote from Mesero on, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday of last week. The prior premium was $6,500. The proposed renewal premiums with taxes are $20,916. One of the reasons for the increase is that we had one claim of a fall down in the Metro lot by the electric line. And that claim at this point has been valued by the insurance carrier, or the cost of that claim has been, they've reserved approximately $61,000, and the company that we have does not want to write another policy because they're going to lose significantly on the existing policy. The other reason, as I understand it, is companies don't like to write this kind of standalone insurance for parking lots. And so the two best proposals Mesero could obtain for the city had a premium increase, well, had premium costs of $20,916. The only real difference is in one of the companies, there would be a third-party administrator agreement with a firm known as Sedgwick, and for the other, they would have to review our operating and maintenance agreements, which I've provided to Mesero last week to provide to the insurers. I did check the operating and maintenance agreements for the three lots. They do provide for self-insurance. However, self-insuring a parking lot, as you can see, can be risky business. And we would have to get permission from Metra, which the contracts allow for it, but we'd have to send them a proposed certification that would have to cover different types of insurance, and then they would have to review it and make a determination whether they were going to accept it or not. Given the fact that we have this short deadline, I don't think that that's probably a practical solution. We did, just so you're aware, we did notify Mesro in January. As soon as they notified us that the company that we had was going to not renew the policy. Now that was on January 23rd. As soon as we were notified, we turned around and said, see if you can find another carrier since we need insurance. And we just got the quote, as I said, I believe it was last Thursday. So there is money apparently in the parking lot fund, which I presume can be used for this type of expense. On the treasurer's report, there was approximately $300,000 in the fund, but you're going to have to make a decision as to whether to recommend this insuring under one of these two policies with one of these two companies, and then we would tell the carrier or tell the agent from Mesro to bind it. We would inform the full city council tomorrow of what we've done, and then at the next meeting, ask for a ratification. That's the best I can tell you at this point in time. So if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them for you.
All right, thank you,
This is
Kerry.
Alderman Bilotto.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, Alderman Bilotto, which parking lots are these?
There's a lot immediately to the east of the station for the electric line. And then there are two lots, one on each side of,
Rock Island.
you know where the Rock Island station is? There are two lots, one on each side of the tracks. One is a fairly significant sized lot. It's about 190 spaces. And the other is a smaller lot. But Metra owns 3 of the lots. The city owns and operates the other lots, but these 3 lots we actually lease from Metra, or in effect have an operating and maintenance agreement where we agree to maintain the lots, insure the lots, keep them clean, and indemnify Metra for any losses that they may sustain by virtue of excessive insurance. So I can email you photos, aerial photos of those lots. I can do that right now if you'd like, just so you can see where they're at.
So my question is, are we collecting any revenue from these lots? Otherwise, if Metra, I know we have to probably get the insurance either way, but long term, I don't see a lot of cars parking on some of these lots. Why? And the amount of cost to maintain them where they're at, you know.
I have no idea.
I can answer that.
Here and speak whether we're collecting any money from those lots, Alderman.
I can answer that, Fred.
All right, Randy.
Okay, so the 1401 lot, the Vermont Street, the long one with 190, our gross revenue is 44,000 last year. Net revenue 35. The Grove and Irving, the small lot is gross revenue 6,800, net revenue 5,400, and then the Vermont Street North, which is the one by the electric, that's gross revenue of 12,300, net revenue of 9,800. So it's what 50,000.
How much is the insurance costing a year?
$20,916 for this year, this coming year.
Including maintenance, we're not even breaking even probably long term. I think we can address this for next year, Alderman Donahue, because if we're only collecting 50, 60 grand and the insurance is 20 grand. I'm sure Jim and stuff and blacktop and everything else that needs to go into these lots is probably another 20, 30 grand. We're probably breaking even if we're lucky on these lots. So,
Sure, but I think just probably so we're still insured. We
Yeah,
probably need
we have
some more
to do
time before we can send the letter to Mexa and the agreements for the self-insurance. So it looks like maybe just for this year, we would have to probably do this one more time.
Yeah. All right.
All right, any other questions?
I will send you over aerial photos of these 3 lots as soon as I can locate them, okay? So you
Great,
can see
thank you.
exactly where they're at.
Thank you. All right, is there a motion to approve the liability insurance policy update?
Make a motion, Alderman Alexander.
Alderman Alexander with the motion. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second it, Klinker.
Alderman Klinker with the second. All right, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving along, item 6, Alderman comments and concerns. Or any comments or concerns from Alderman or members of the committee? No, all right. Eric, I know you said you had an update on something. Did you want to talk now?
Yes, Alderman, as long as that's fine with you. I've got an update on the payments due to IDOT for the Chatham Street Bridge construction project that was finished in 17, I think, March 17.
Okay.
So we've been working with IDOT to close out the project, and they've basically given us an update here, which is funding that we're going to need to provide to them out of TIF 5. So the total, basically 80% of the project has been invoiced, but they're still waiting to build the final remaining 20%. Of that final 20%, Blue Island has to cover the local match. That local match will be covered out of TIF 5. But I just wanted to let you all know that the IDOT invoicing process is quite slow. So this is an update that probably won't reach any kind of finance committee vote for the next year and a half. But I want to bring it to everybody's attention that in the next TIF budgeting, we're going to have to budget around $220,000 of money to pay for the final payment on the Chatham Street Bridge. And I guess part of the information I was hoping to provide you is let you know there is a fairly substantial delay claim from the bridge general contractor. About $110,000 of that $220,000 is based on a delay claim from the contractor that went to Springfield and got arbitrated. IDOT has agreed to look again at that claim. Parts of that claim are definitely going to need to be covered by Blue Island because it deals with local utilities, with the water main crossing the bridge. But there are other parts of it, including utility coordination, that we feel the federal government should also be providing a match for. So IDOT's agreed to take a look at that. So this number isn't final, but what is definitely final is now we know that IDOT has not invoiced for the balance of this project, and we'll still be looking to close it out, and we'll be needing to pay it out of future project budgets in TIF 5.
Eric, this is Alderman Bilotto. I got a question, Alderman Donahue, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So Chatham Street Bridge, I brought this up several times in the past, and it's still not completed. The wraps around the water lines on several of the junctions are not completed. It's just plastic wrap with duct tape right now, crossing the bridge. The lights on the railings to the bridge, unlike Division Street, where we covered the cords with conduit, these were never done. Those 2 items have still never been completed. The water main, a 12-inch water main that crosses the bridge in several sections does not have any wrapping on it. It's just covered in duct tape, which looks like crap. And it's just going to last another year before it starts falling apart. And then the fixtures was not conduit like Division Street was. So do we have any updates from these issues? I know I've talked to Jim about this a few times. I'm never going to vote for any payment for anything until this shit's done because it looks like crap.
Language.
It looks like crap.
I can give you update on information on all those points. So with regards to the water main joint installation, what we're talking about is the movement joints for the water main on the north and south abutments, but particularly the south abutment was fairly sloppily done. We believe that's due to a water main break that happened over the course of the winter and then was fixed as an emergency and then never really repaired in a permanent manner.
Eric, there's both ends of the bridge have this, along with also in the middle of the bridge. They've been there since the bridge reopened. Jim Polster can testify to that. These are not off main breaks. These are the way it was left from the contractor.
Well, it was
right. No, sorry, that was a main break that was repaired by the contractor. This wasn't a main break that was repaired by Public Works. I'm sorry. Was that Jim? Was that you? I didn't mean to talk over you.
No, it was my fault. I'm sorry. I was just saying it wasn't really a water main break. It was a separation of the pipe. So they went in there and we lost a lot of water during that period also. But when they went to repair it, they repaired the pipe. But when they put the wrap back on, it's like they sloppily put it back on with electrical tape and hefty bags, basically. So
and then both at the where it goes back into the ground on both sides, that's the way they've been since the bridge reopened. It's covered in plastic hefty bags.
And I could speak to that too. And so we've been working with closing out this project for a number of years now. I'm pretty sure since March of 17. So the workmanship on that water main joint installation has been brought up and is part of the punch list, is part of the final acceptance of this project. So moving this along is going to hopefully get that rectified. But I need to let you know that that material that looks like duct tape and I think you said trash bags or whatever, that is the water main joint material. I mean, that's the insulation for that movement joint in the water main. It's never going to look pretty. It's an industrial wrap that half the time is either buried underground or underneath the bridge where nobody can see it. It's just that people can see it there. So we are.
So what the rest of the pipe? The rest of the pipe has a plastic like PVC wrap around it. Looks clean, flush, professional. How come the same thing can't be put at these two sections?
Because inside there is, the reason why that joint insulation material looks like that is because inside there is a huge movement gland that allows the water main to expand and contract when the bridge does. So it's not like those nice looking PVC runs, which are also actually separating, and we've asked them to retape. Those nice PVC runs are over straight lengths of pipe, and this is actually like a huge gland, like a huge movement joint inside there that this is covering. It's in a regular shape, and I mean I know that that's not pretty, but I also know that that's fairly poor workmanship, and we are going to require them to touch it up before we accept it. So
it's not that it's not even looks pretty. It's already being torn apart in sections anyway. This is low to the ground. I can reach out and touch it. If this is not how it's supposed to be, then we need to figure out a way to cover those ends up with a metal box, stainless steel, something. You're just asking for trouble. All this insulation just hanging out there.
Right. I agree with that too. So that's kind of like you say, it's too accessible, and also it doesn't look good either. So I think it would be smart to look at covering for it. We did bring a local fabricator out there to have a look and give us an estimate, and they have not yet. So we're still working on that. But I want to keep that separate. So this is the federal project. This is the Kenny Construction was the general contractor for, and we're trying to keep off of the IDOT's fire list because IDOT's been asking us to approve a $1,300 pay estimate for a little over a year now, and they're going to pull the federal funding for this project, which amounts to about $300,000 if we don't keep our end of the agreement and keep the project moving. So this is for your information. I'm trying to explain to you the thought process here, but so we're working with the general contractor to fix what we feel they need to fix, and then we're going to continue to try and find a fabricator who can form us a cover as a more aesthetically pleasing fix as well.
Okay.
And that I don't think I just want to chime in for a second. It's Jim Paulstroh. I think that the conduit on that bridge, you weren't gonna do because it was out of reach anyway, am I correct? For the lights?
Yes, Jim, sorry, I forgot about the conduit. So this is Eric Alvarez, and the conduit on the Division Street Bridge was done because it was directly adjacent to the sidewalk, and on the Chatham Street Bridge, it's on a gantry. It's separated from the bridge, so the city had not required the contractor to pipe that in rigid metal conduit during construction.
No, I
Again,
agree.
this was years ago.
I was told that they were asking for payment to do the same thing at Chatham Street Bridge. So if I got wrong information, then it's wrong information. I just want to clarify that never was done at Chatham Street.
It sounds like there might have been something lost in translation, Alderman. So this pay estimate that is current is for conduit painting to match the bridge. I'm not aware of exactly where that took place. Again, this is a number of years ago, but this is not for rigid metal conduit versus the whip. I think it's whip out there, right? That flexible metal conduit.
The flexible metal conduit on Division Street for the lights, yes, it's whip.
Right. So this is nothing to do with that. This is for painting
At Chatham Street?
at Chatham Street.
I can't picture anything that sticks out. I'd walked that thing every day this last 2 weeks, and I can't think anything about blue or black. So I can't picture what they're looking to paint. Other than the
No,
paint
it's
on the
already
bridge
been
itself.
painted. It was painted years ago.
All right,
This is the
speaking
pay
of the paint
estimate
on
for
the
that.
bridge, just speaking on this, just for education of the aldermen, we're already rusting and popping through on Chatham Street and Division Street, the blue paint, and it's been only not even 5 years. So if you notice any of that, a lot of at the ground level, the blue bridge, the blue part of the bridge, the actual bridge structure is popping and rusting already, and I don't know if anybody's aware of that or not. Definitely on
Alderman,
Chatham Street.
we are aware of the corrosion that's starting on both of the bridges, especially Chatham Street. We
All right.
brought it to the attention of IDOT, and they basically said because it passed all the whole point inspections during construction, the paint and the corrosion is going to happen as is, and it's just going to be a matter of us budgeting with the bridge engineers, who's Lochner, keeping a proper TIF budget for the repainting when we need to do that.
Just making you aware.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Alderman Bilotto, for bringing all that to the committee's attention and Mr. Alvarez's attention. Is there anything else from anyone on the committee?
Alderman, this is Kerry Horvath again. While you were discussing with Eric the Chatham Street Bridge, I sent you two photos or two aerial overlay photos of the three lots so you can get a better feel for where they're located.
Great, thank you. All right. If there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
Motion by Alderman Alexander. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Alderman Klinker, all in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we are adjourned at 6:41 p.m. We'll catch everyone next Monday, 6 p.m. here. I'm going to assume on the Zoom channel again, and we'll see everyone at City Council tomorrow. Stay safe and be healthy. Good night.